Ex, and welcome back or welcome to your new favorite show, Dear Ex, One Last Thing. Typically, this is a show where listeners like you send in a letter about their own exes along with some background, and I tell it as kind of a story time, as well as give a little pointers from my own humble psychology background opinion, but mostly a story time. And I want this platform to act as a form of closure and as a listening ear for people that maybe don't have that in their lives. However, this episode is going to be a bit, actually, no, completely different. This episode is going to be a lot like my first episodes I ever made when I first started a podcast. The podcast is called The Love Bug Lounge, and it was about self-love and compassion and overcoming hardship. And I would share things about my life that I felt could apply to other people, other 20-year-olds that were trying to navigate young adulthood in hopes that it would make them feel a little less alone. This time, it's still different from those past episodes because I don't have a script. I have no outline. I have nothing I'm going off of. Just for some time, I've felt like I needed to make something that was a little bit more personal, a little bit closer to home. And I pushed it off. I didn't listen to that voice, and I kept chugging along as usual because nothing was wrong. I just felt this deep need and want to connect more with my listeners and show a more vulnerable personal side of myself and my life. And maybe insecurity got in the way. I kind of told myself, well, who would listen to that or who would care? And then today I got the official letter and feedback that I'm not getting into my dream grad school. Not only my dream grad school, the only grad school I applied to this time around. And the feeling that brought me, I felt the most lost and out of control that I felt for a while. I felt the most insecure that I felt in a really long time. I felt the most incapable that I felt for definitely within the last 8 months. But I haven't felt the collection of those feelings in a really long time. And I mostly felt really alone. And I felt like, no one could make me feel better, but I didn't want to sulk and continue to be in my head. And it reminded me of why I started talking on a platform in the first case, why I've always had a platform where people could come to me about their problems or come to me with their rants, because I know how cliche it sounds, but I never want anyone to feel alone. And in a time where we are so connected but still feeling so lonely, I think it's very, very important to bring like the humanness back to media and remind ourselves of why we create in the first place, why we partake in social media in the first place, and why we are all like what we're all really doing here, So as I was going through it in the depths of my feelings, I thought I have to film. This is the time, this is now, and I'm going to do a little prayer to divine that I know there's always a reason for why we do things, but I hope there is a message that is spoken through me that someone else needs to hear, and I hope it reaches that person. And I hope that if you are listening now or have listened this far, first of all, thank you for being here, thank you for sticking around. I hope I can make you feel a little less alone and a little bit more hopeful. So, and it was also really important to me to film this podcast because, like, this specific type of podcast episode, because I'm moving out of this home, and this home is the very first place that I lived when I moved out of my parents' house. It's the very first and only place I've lived while I have lived in Atlanta. And it's, of course, the first place that I ever filmed, created, edited this podcast. And everything is changing. The setup is changing. Where I'm living is changing. My future is changing. And it just felt important to me to kind of go back to the roots of everything as like one last hurrah, just paying my respects to the past. So now finally, without further ado, we could jump into it, though there's nothing to really jump into. This is my first kind of like chatting episode, first kind of like real podcast episode, the types that I see on YouTube and with other creators, and may seem hard to have a little chatty episode when you're just a singular person, but fear not, I am somebody who talks to myself all day long, out loud, even in public. And as I always say, like, for now I'm young and hot and free and whimsical, and one day I'll just be an old crazy woman. But for now, all of that craziness has gotten me this far, so we're going to keep riding that wave. I guess we could just dive into what I feel like is on my heart to say, and that's that I feel so gutted about the fact that I'm not going to this grad school. It was actually supposed to be my backup school, but the more I learned about it, the more apparent it became to me that this is exactly where I was supposed to be. And I just have never imagined myself in a place more clearly. I've never wanted something. Well, I've probably wanted something this bad, but I can't remember the last time I wanted something this bad. And to not get it feels gut wrenching. And it, is that the way you say that? Gut wrenching? Gut? Is that important? Probably not. But to not get it left me deeply saddened. And all the while there is this like deeper feeling. Like if your feelings, like for me, I think of feelings like an onion, okay? So if the like middle layer is like deep anguish, sadness, just confusion, heartbreak, my deep core feeling is still trust, like this unwavering trust that it's still working out exactly the way that it's supposed to. Sorry if this is like a super random cut. My phone has been ringing off the hook and I don't remember the last thing I was talking about. I do remember I was talking about emotions being layers to me. And so if my like outermost emotion is just what I have to put on day to day and like how I show up in everyday interactions, this not getting in isn't going to bleed into that. But then like underground, there's this other layer of anguish and fear and kind of like overthinking and depressive thoughts. But beneath that, like at my core, is this deep, deep level of trust, of unshakable trust and knowing that my plan is going the way that it's supposed to. It's unfolding exactly the way that it's supposed to. And I 100%, without doubt, feel like in the future, I will look back on this and say, I 100% needed that to happen. I needed that to happen so that I could have met this person and could have been introduced to this thing. I needed that to happen so I had more time to do this thing, so I could get more experience for this, so I could get money for that, so I could go here, so I could do this, so whatever. I am 100% certain that I, in the future, will say, thank God I didn't get in at that time because it wouldn't have allowed me to grow in this way or do this thing or miss that bullet. And I guess maybe that's just kind of what I want to talk about today. Whether that is a mindset you could teach yourself, if it's just something you have, I don't know. What I do know is that I didn't always feel like this, and this wasn't always the way I thought about life and thought about my future. I don't know if it was just a dormant thing. I don't know if it's something I grew myself into, but I I guess what I always end up coming back to in every single message is that things 100% can change for you and will change for you if you believe that they can. If you believe that there's more for you out there, there will be more for you out there. If you believe that you are going to have good experiences today, you will have good experiences today. If you believe that there is deep, lovely friendships out there for you, there will be. Maybe not on the timeline that you're hoping for, but it will happen because what you are searching for is actively searching for you. I know it to be true. I know it to be true from my own experiences because there was a time, a long time, most of my life that I felt completely and utterly alone, and I felt like no one understood me. And I looked at these groups of girlfriends and I thought that's all I want in life. I just want some girlfriends who love me, who know me, who understand me, to do girlfriend things with. And for years, through school, through sports, through all these things, I looked and looked and looked and it wasn't there. And now I have it. And I have it in a way that was even sweeter than I could have imagined it. And it had to fall the way that it did. And I remember growing up, if someone were to ask me like what does your perfect day look like, or what is just a day of complete Mia gets whatever she wants, what does that look like? And I remember it was a full day of pampering. If I could get a chiropractor appointment in a day, a massage in a day, a facial in a day, a hair appointment in a day, maybe my nails done the same day, like that would be unheard of. I thought that was like celebrity treatment. I was like, that's like something you only experience like once in your life. And it was like this thing I fantasized about and I wrote about and I like collaged about. And it was just like, for me, it was the equivalent of like going to the moon. It just felt like, oh, this is only what like really rich, like special people can do for themselves. And guess what? I can make that day happen for me anytime I want now. Oftentimes, I can make that day happen for me on someone else's dime. My point is, your wildest dreams are possible so long as you truly believe that they are, because your brain will go looking for proof that it is. Your brain loves patterns. It loves to also prove itself right. And it loves to take the easiest like plan of action. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but like go the easiest route. So this like belief feedback loop that you're telling yourself about, let's say you want to have a good day today and you wake up and you go, I'm having a good day today. I am having a good day today. It's already happening. Your brain will look for proof that it's right. So it will find things to categorize as having a good day. It'll find little miracles. And your brain will also want to like connect the dots. So it will see patterns before they happen of if this, and this goes right, that would be me having a good day. And it'll see how can I make these things happen so that I could be right again, So I don't even know what we're talking about now, but I think that's partly how I got to the mindset I'm in today, just really speaking shit into existence. But also doing that will give you so much more faith in yourself. And if you are spiritual, religious, it'll give you so much more faith in the divine that is, I believe, guiding our lives. And so that's why I know it to be true that this thing that's happening that feels so detrimental, that feels so worrying, that feels so confusing, I know it is a step in the right direction. It has to be, because everything thus far has been. The worst moments of my life, the most tragic and terrible moments of my life, if those things did not happen, I could not be where I am. I could not be on the path that I'm on, and I would not know what I wanted to do with my career and the person I want to be in 10 years. The most heartbreaking moments of my life, the most painful moments of my life got me to this podcast, had me create this beautiful and wonderful thing that I get to do every week. And, I realized this with my last relationship. I hate to see people I love in pain. I hate to see them hurting, especially if I feel like I can avoid it or help them avoid it. And so in my last relationship, I sheltered my ex from a lot of the pain from life, and I made him very comfortable, and I didn't want him to experience discomfort at all. But if he was going to, I didn't want him to experience for long periods of time. And what I realized is I did a disservice to himself, to him, to his life, and to me and my comfort, and then also to us as a couple. Because the best lessons I've learned, the most that I've grown, it's been through pain, and it's been through not only experiencing it, but accepting it and embracing it and being open to it and saying, okay, pain, like, you are my greatest teacher. What are you here for right now? What are you teaching me right now? And the faster that we learn it, the less that we experience it, because I think suffering comes with putting off pain and not wanting to accept it. And I think pain comes also in waves. I think our body knows that we need it to learn to grow, and we know we can't handle it all on at once. So our body will give us breaks through it when we accept it, and I think it's when we push it off that it all comes in like flooding at once. Anyways, back to me and my ex. It did him a disservice because he wasn't able to learn the lessons that those life events were trying to teach him. It did me a disservice because it had me putting my life on hold to put his life in the center and his situation and his circumstances and everything at the forefront of my worries and my responsibilities. And then it did the relationship a disservice because it caused me to feel some resentment, and it caused me to be overburdened, and it caused me to feel like I couldn't ask for help because it was something that I willingly took on. And if I couldn't handle it, then I didn't know how he was going to. I overestimated the belief in myself, and I underestimated my belief in him. And it caused me to feel extremely overwhelmed and alone in a relationship, and really hard on myself because I knew actively that I had made the situation that way. I think now I just head into anything painful as letting myself feel it, but as soon as I'm done feeling it, as soon as the pain lightens up a little bit, I'm asking myself, what am I learning from this? And what am I doing to change from this, to grow from this? And that leads me back to not getting into this dream grad school. I still, in my heart of hearts, feel like this is the only school meant for me. This is exactly where I'm meant to be. I could be proven wrong, but until I am, I'm locking in and I'm pushing hard to make that happen. And I think maybe this is the wake-up call I needed. I was slacking a little bit. I was getting a little bit comfortable, and just, I was kind of forgetting that life only happens when you make it happen. Life happens for you because you make it happen. Things happen for you because you make them happen. Things come to you, yes, but oftentimes those things come to you because you did the work to allow it to come to you. You met the thing halfway there. And if you wait forever, that's all you're going to be doing is waiting, okay? So I know that this next chapter of my life is going to be so great. And I know this next era is going to be like, putting me even closer and closer to who I want to be, and more in alignment with what I feel like my path is. And I think just like I have to embrace the pain, I have to embrace the limbo and accept that I can't make things happen faster than I want them to. And this is just as much as part of the path as my goals, dreams, and like, not benchmarks, but like, what are those things called? Like, not benchmarks. What are they called? I don't know. We're going to call them benchmarks, as the benchmarks are. That's not the right word, but I can't think of what they're called. The limbo is just as much part of it. The waiting period is just as much part of it. And what you do with that waiting period is just as important as you reaching the goal, is just as important as what you do with all of the success. What you do before the success maybe is even more important as how you handle it afterwards. And that's where we are right now. I think so much of my life has been based around success, whether that's, being kind of the golden child for my parents, getting the best grades that I could, being, the star player on multiple sports teams, in relationships, being the best girlfriend that I could, in friendships, trying to be a really memorable friend. I think just so much of my life has been based around being the best by my standards and basing a lot of my worth on that. And this is the first time in a long time that I feel like I truly failed at something. And in that same breath, I know that failing is still such a blessing. And I mean that. To have the opportunity to fail at something, it's weird how society has turned failure into such a negative, shunned thing to avoid, because failure really only, like pain, brings lessons and brings improvements, and it gives us an opportunity to know what we really care about and what we want to do better, and if the experience is worth going through it again. And if it is, then it's time to take it 10 times more seriously, because if we are willing to fail over and over and over and over and over for this thing, then I don't think that means it's not for you. It certainly can. I think that's something you just have to navigate within yourself, but I think more often it shows us exactly who we want to be and exactly where we want to be and the people we want to be surrounded by. Because sometimes you fail and you're kind of glad at it, right? I don't know if that's self-sabotage. I don't know if that's us knowing what's truly, really meant for us. But I don't know, maybe this next era is just about, it should just be getting comfortable with failing. I think my whole life I like to be great at the first time I did something, and I hated looking stupid, and I hated being a beginner, and I hated just not being just a effing prodigy and everything. And it kept me from having so many experiences and trying so many things. And I think in some ways it still does. I've definitely progressively gotten better throughout the years, but maybe this next time it's just about, I think, getting comfortable with failure, getting comfortable with rejection, and knowing that, honestly, I think our mindset needs to be, the more rejections we have, oftentimes the closer we're getting. It's like, as you're leveling up, the harder it gets. Does that mean that you're going in the wrong direction? Probably not, right? It just means everything beautiful also comes with pressure. Everything beautiful comes with pain. Diamonds being made by pressure, and pearls being made from the grit of sand, and how smooth rocks are being made from years and years of weathering from water. Everything beautiful, and these are all natural things. It comes from years of discomfort and change. And so I don't think it's a surprise that us as natural beings work with that same principle. I think with social media and technology and convenience, we've kind of got lost in that, and we expect ourselves to be more robotic. And at the end of the day, we are natural, wild beings. If we want validation, we post a picture, we post for likes. If we want a package or like if we want something, we're able to order it. We're able to go out and buy it. We don't have to make things, and even sending and receiving things is so much quicker than it was when we were like writing letters and shit. I'm not going to dive into like our workforce or capitalism, but we don't work based off the hours or seasons of other like wild animals. And like I think it causes us to set unrealistic standards and understandings for ourselves and to what's to be expected. And I think also with social media and how in your face success seems, and how everyone's trying to like offer it to you of like you need it now, it also can make us feel very behind, when the fact of the matter is there is no other you. There's no other you. There's no other you. There's no other you. There's no other you. Nobody could tell you what your timeline is, because there is no other you. There's no one on earth that is going to do the things that you've done exactly the way that you've done it. It's just not possible. There's no one before you. There's no one after you. Like, there's so many odds that had to get beat for you to be here now, especially if you're listening to this, because I don't have a ton of listeners. But your timeline is completely yours. Like, please don't let anyone take that from you. Please don't let anyone rush you from that. Please don't let anyone take you outside of what's yours, okay? There's time. There's so much time. Like, so many people that I look up to started what they were known for in their freaking like 40s, 60s sometimes, okay? Like that's a lifetime for some people. So also I want to talk about the idea of success. Like, every monetary thing we want is just actually to buy us something that can't be bought. Like deep, true friendship and love and community and time and health and privacy and safety and freedom. These things actually can't be bought. And we feel like with better jobs and better money and better connections and networking, therefore, things that make us more flashy, or cars or jewelry could help us meet these people and be in these spaces. Like, we're all just actually trying to go after that thing. But sometimes it seems like we forget what the actual end goal is, and we do think it's just the monetary stuff, and we forget why we even wanted these things in the first place. And that could also take us off our timeline, off our path, because maybe going at it the same way we see someone else doing it, that's actually not what fits for us. And it's easy to get convinced that these are the things that you should want, or these are the things that you should care about, when really, like, that's up to you to decide. It's completely up to you to decide if that is what you want. And it's completely up to you to change what you want, whatever time you want. And it's completely up to you to check in with yourself and ask yourself, like, why actually do I want these things? And do I still want the same things that I wanted 5 years ago? And if it's changed, is there an easier path? And if it's changed, don't be scared of that. That doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you failed if what you want changes. That doesn't mean you've given up. I think there is this feeling of like, if I change what I wanted, I'm like admitting like defeat. Especially, I think, for people that maybe were bullied. There's such a want to prove yourself, to prove that you are worthy of love, and you're worthy of respect. And there's almost a want to make other people sorry. Not sorry in a way that you want to hurt them. I mean, maybe. But for me, make them sorry, like, oh, I'm sorry that they weren't ever, like, I want them to feel sorry for ever, like, hurting me or not being friends with me or whatever. And that mindset is so flawed for so many reasons. For one, the most simplest and hardest one to wrap your head around, it doesn't matter what they think. It didn't matter then. Doesn't matter now. Just because it hurt you so much then, your pain matters. The way you were hurt matters. But their opinion, their label of you, it doesn't matter. And it didn't matter then. And I'm not saying it shouldn't have mattered to you, or that you were too sensitive. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying you probably reacted the exact right way, but it shouldn't have defined you, because it didn't. It doesn't define you. It didn't define you. You were amazing then. You're amazing now. You'll be amazing in the future. You were worthy of love then. You're worthy of love now. You're worthy of love in the future. And you were worthy of love then, now, and in the future, not because of how you succeeded or whatever you thought validates your love, but just simply because you were, and you are, and you always will be. You were worthy of respect, not because you had to earn it, but because you're a human being. And you were then, and you are now, and you always will be. Until dust to dust, ashes to ashes, until we're stardust all over again. Yeah, I think when you experienced a lot of pain, there's this feeling like I have to reach this success. I have to become all these things I said I was going to be. I have to be great, so these people know that I'm somebody. I'm something. I'm something important. And those people's opinions don't matter. And oftentimes those people will stay miserable, and they will always find a reason to not like you or not like themselves, which makes them not like others. And even so, like, you could succeed and they could still feel the exact same way about you and find something just like. And also, okay, let's say everything goes right. It all goes to plan. And these people give you all the respect and love that you always wished you'd get from them. Is it going to matter? Are you really going to want those people to be your friend? Is their opinion really going to be one of, like, weight to you? And if so, why? If people only love you when you have something that could be taken away from your person, like a label or money or status, and they don't just love, like, how you show up, like, naked to the world, those people are fleeting. And, like, they're not going to give you the thing that you're actually chasing after, because it's not true love and it's not true respect. And I know that, like, you can know that and it still is hard to, like, know it in your bones, but, like, really sit with it. So if your plans are changing of what you want, but you're scared to let yourself admit that because it feels like a failure, it's not. And what I feel like so often is, like, I say God, but you could say your higher self, you could say your guardian angels, you could say the universe, you could say your intuition, say whatever you need to say so that makes sense to you. But I say God speaks in whispers. And it's like a whisper, and then it's like a hush tone, and then it's like an inside voice, and then it gets a little yelling, and then it pauses, and you're like, okay, so I didn't listen all that time, but it wasn't meant to be. And then you get fucking punched in the face, because ultimately your plan is never going to change. You could fight it and fight it and fight it and fight it, and it may find you sooner or it may find you later based on when you submit to it. But your plan is not going to change. What's right for you isn't going to change. And what's right for you will keep finding you in different ways. But the sooner you choose to live the life that's right for you, the sooner you're going to feel at peace, the sooner you're going to feel fulfilled, the sooner your opportunities are going to come in abundance, and the sooner that your growth and happiness is going to, like, elevate exponentially. I know that to be true from my own life. And I see this with, like, people leaving relationships. I see it with people quitting substances. I see it with people quitting careers. They talk about that knowing. People talk about that knowing before they get married, and they still get married because they think the feeling's going to go away. And in 20 years, the feeling doesn't go away. You know? So what I believe to be true, not that anyone asked, but it's my podcast, so we're going to talk about it. What I believe to be true is I think that I think we get reincarnated, and I think we are souls having a human experience to teach us lessons. And I think souls are a part of the universe. So I think we're just like the universe experiencing itself. And I think we are the divine experiencing itself in a newer, different way. I don't really know how all of that works, but that's not what I'm going to talk about anyways. But I think your soul has to go through different lessons and karmic cycles. And when it completes those lessons, it like levels up and it levels up and it levels up. And I think that's why it's never truly too late, because I think you will pick back up where you left off in your new life. But you level, the quicker you accept the lessons, accept the pain, accept the things, the quicker you level up, the quicker, I don't really know what the end goal is. I guess like nirvana. But yeah, all that to say, only you, I don't want to say only you know what's right for you, because I think people that love you deeply and have known you for a long time may also know what's right for you. And sometimes they are they're a good reality check to have when you're so in your head and overthinking and down on yourself and telling yourself these lies and stories about yourself that aren't true. But sometimes it is only you that knows, and you're going to come off as crazy, or people aren't going to see the vision, or aren't going to see the why. And sometimes people don't need to know the why. Sometimes people don't need to understand the why. And I don't know what the future holds, and I don't know how good it's going to get. And God, isn't that a wonderful thought, to not know how good the future's going to get? But like, I feel like I'm on the edge of it. Like, I feel like once it takes off, it takes off. It's going to be like an avalanche. Like, it's going to be like blessing, 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 because I already see that trend in my life right now. But it's like still coming. And life always comes with like trials and tribulations, but like it's not even as good as it's going to get, which is, I'm so blessed to already live the life that I live. I know that I will make big things happen in my life and change other people's lives in big ways. And I think what's giving me the courage to talk about it right now is I've been seeing a lot of other creators talk about it, and they have the platform, the resources, the life to prove it. And they say, I knew I was meant for something bigger. I knew I was meant for something greater. And if you know that you're meant for it, go after it. Trust that feeling, because it doesn't go away. So I'm going for it. I'm going to go for it in any and every way that I can. And I'm going to trust that when I stay fully aligned, no matter how fearful I am of how it comes off to other people, I will find my people through being aligned. Because honestly, what happened when I tried to make myself smaller, because I thought it would get me friendships that were more genuine, or I thought it would make people like me more, or I thought it would make me loved by my partners more, all of those things fell away. I don't have any of those same friends. I'm not dating any of those same partners, right? So it's like the things that you find and have through lie cannot stay when you're in your truth. Like the life you build through living as somebody else will not stay when you live as yourself. And that shouldn't scare you. It should empower you to know that not only is it possible to live a full and complete life as yourself, but it is going to be better than the one that you could live as a fake, because it'll feel like you. It'll feel comfortable. And it doesn't matter if it looks like success to anybody else. It matters if it feels like success to you. Because there's such a difference of feeling in fulfillment and being content versus putting on a show. I don't think you're punished or rewarded when you do the right or wrong thing. I think it feels like that because it's either in or out of alignment. One person's punishment is another person's reward. Not to be freaky deaky. Get my mind out the gutter. But one person's punishment is another person's reward. One person's reward is another person's punishment, which is what I was just talking about with, one person's life that's fulfilling is another person's boring. One person's life that's stressful is another person's perfect. Okay. I think it's that when you work in alignment, you feel deeply fulfilled and whole. And that feels like reward. And when you do things that other people say you should do, or what you think other people would respect, or what other people would like, it feels like punishment. It feels empty because it's not in alignment with you. your path, your goals, the changes you're going to make in this world. So, yeah, I think this feels like a good stopping point. If you've listened to this far, then thank you so much. Next week we will resume, of course, to exes and drama and heartbreak, of course. How could we not? But just had to take a chance to show my human side of being a host too. So until next Thursday, thank you all so much for listening. If you like this episode, like, share, subscribe, share it with a friend who might need it. Comment below your feelings. Message me personally if you'd like. And if, of course, you want to send in a letter about your ex-best friend, ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, ex-boss, ex-teacher, ex-parent, please feel free to do so. Checking out the link in bio on the Instagram, Dear Ex One Last Thing, the link on YouTube, or I'd like to include it down in like the little captions, like episode summary type thing. So yeah, check that out. I love you so much. Good luck with everything. I hope you feel less alone. I hope you feel a little bit more hopeful about the future, and bye.